Okay, by request, I am making this video to speak on the relationship of the Orisha with the natural elements. Yes, I do take requests because sometimes I just don't know what you guys want to hear about. So if you have any ideas, I'm up for it. There's many different ways that we can discuss the relationship between the Orishas and the natural elements. I don't think it's accurate to say the Orisha are personified elements. I think they're much more complex than that. Yet, it is undeniable that they have a very close relationship to specific elements. Sometimes they'll merge and they'll be associated with more than one element. It's not very nice and clear-cut boxes. So the important thing is to learn as many details as you possibly can, and from there make a decision. Where do you want to fit them? And of the sort. Don't get hung up when I start saying one Orisha is the sky, and then I start talking about earth elements. The point is not to have a one-dimensional idea of any Orisha. The Orisha are very, very complex. Okay, so from there, one way we can begin looking at Orisha is in the sense of dividing the main groups of elements. Okay, I think in European, Western tradition, we tend to think of the four elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. I'm not sure if that fits neatly into the African view, at least not the way I understand it, per se. Earth is obviously a big one. That's for sure. Instead of fire, I would probably change in terms of grouping Orisha to, I would say, weather Orisha, right? Like Shango is thunder, lightning, but Oya, his wife, his concubine, would also be part of the same family, same elemental nature, right? So she could also be fire, but more weather, right? Thunder, lightning, wind. Okay. Then you have your instead of air, I would say sky, right? Sky deities, heaven deities, right? And water, of course, that's pretty consistent, right? So starting with the earth deities, right? I think we can start there. We have Mother Earth, right? Ileogere Afokoyeri, which is obviously the quintessential earth deity because it is the Mother Earth, right? Very important. We first learned of Mother Earth when Obatala comes down with a seashell full of earth, right? And that earth, a plain reading of the story of the Pataki would make it seem like he's bringing down an object, but when you look deeper into the story, the meaning, the esoterics of it, he's coming down accompanied with an Orisha. Okay. Other Orishas that are clearly of the earth, Babaluaye, Asowano. Okay. Orichauko, the tiller of the land, who fertilizes the soil so that the soil can give fruit. Okay. I would say Egun. Egun, in a way, goes to all four elements, right? The ancestors. I mentioned them first in earth because, well, we bury our dead in the earth, and there is a sacred. If you look at Ikamei, right, and if you cowrie shells, I think you can find this in Ejioko, I know you can find it in Ejioko, which states that, while we live, the earth feeds us, but when we die, our bodies will feed the earth. And it talks about the reciprocal nature of human beings and their relationship to the earth. Okay, so, and even when we pray to our ancestors, right? If you're in the Lukumi tradition, you have something called Opaiku, right? Or the Opasiku. And what we do is while we're praying to the ancestors, we're tapping on the ground. Tap, 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 while we're praying, while we're singing. Why? Because, again, it's sort of like knocking on their door, right? They are collectively considered to be under the earth, but there's a whole world under there. It's all metaphorical, or I should say symbolic, not metaphorical, symbolic. So the ancestors, as I mentioned before, we can say the fire or the weather, Orishas, the Shango, Oya, and any of those related entities would obviously fit in there. Then we have ocean, or I should say water deities, is more accurate. Obviously, that's an easy one. Olokun, Yemaja, Oshun, Erinle or Inle, Abata. Okay, and all those related family members. Okay, so quickly important to that is we have Olokun, which in reality is the owner of all water. Okay, Olokun is not simply the owner of the ocean, although the name literally translates to owner of the ocean. She owns all water, right? Iya bawa olomi saye wa de lokun, right? You're saying, a great mother, you are the owners of all the world's water. Olomi saye, olomi, owner of the water, saye, of the world. Olomi saye wa de olokun. So you're saying that Olokun is the one who wears the crown of all these waters. She's the one who is the royalty. Okay? Who's numero dos? Who's the second owner of all waters? Olosa. Right? Olosa is another female Orisha. The name literally translates to owner of the lagoons. Technically, again, is the second place owner of all waters. Okay? Then you have, Oshun. Specific to the rivers. Yemaja is also a river and ocean deity. There's a river in Nigeria called the Ogun River. Not Ogun like the Orisha Ogun, but Ogun like medicine. So they believe that the Yemaja's river is a river full of medicine. Its medicinal properties. Okay? And you have Erinle, right? Inle, everybody knows him as a great doctor, but also a fisherman. Very much associated with water. What do you have? Going back to some of the earth deities, I think I would make a mistake if I didn't mention Osain. Obviously, the Orisha that brings forth the ashe of the plants, right? Which we use to consecrate, all things, all Orisha items, medicine, healing. For the wicked people out there, witchcraft and all that. Probably one of the most important Orisha in our system, and should have mentioned them probably sooner. By association, there is a spirit in the forest called Aroni. Okay, he's like number 2 guy when it comes to knowledge of plants, right? And he's the one who's said to be physically imperfect, as opposed to Osain being physically imperfect. It's really Aroni. But Aroni is physically imperfect in body, but he makes up for it with his purity of spirit and his immense knowledge. And if you can, and the lesson behind that is, if you can get past his, the fright of his physical defects, then you will be rewarded. It teaches us not to be shallow, to look at wisdom as the true beauty of a person, not the physical. It's pretty deep when you meditate on it. Okay, and last and certainly not least, we have the sky Orisha, right? I don't know if you. I'm remiss to call them the air and associate them with the element of the air. Why? Because I think the first Orisha we think of air is Oya, for the wind, Afefe, and yet it's obvious that I prefer to put Oya in Shango's family because of a fierce nature. And again, I told you, no neat boxes. I hate neat boxes because neat boxes means you're not really thinking, right? I like my boxes really sloppy and complicated and with a lot of detail. But the heaven Orisha, that we can think of, Odudua, Obatala, Yembo. Okay, I would, why? Because you have all the Orishas come from heaven, especially the 16 main Irumole. The 16 main Irumole created by God, right? But even, not even they are all in the heaven pantheon. But still, when we think of Obatala, we think of he comes down from heaven and he establishes the earth, right? So we have the heaven or air. Think of Odua comes down as well, and then we think of their role in being the sort of liaison, the governors, right, interpreting the will of heaven for the people of the earth, right? We also think of the white cloth, although Orisha from the other pantheons also sometimes wear white cloth too. Like Oshun, her true colors, the true color of her cloth is white, not yellow, and I'll leave that there and pick up in the next video. Hope you liked it.